Guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be bringing you my second trimester update. I'm a little late filming this per usual, but I have notes in my phone that I wanted to go over. I'm going to try to make it quick, but you know, if you know me, I'm long-winded, but I'm going to try my hardest to make it super short. I would say the second trimester was pretty uneventful, but at the same time, very eventful. Everything is going great. So I'm gonna have my phone and read you the notes and just like discuss some of the things with you. I love like a chatty sit down where I can just tell you everything because you know I'm an overshare. So if you want to see my second trimester update, then please keep on watching. So obviously, you know, I have to put my little disclaimers in. I have a lot of them kind of. Number one, I just did the Dyson blowout and she's giving like a little too much volume. She needs to calm down, and I didn't have like the right comb to comb her out. So very sorry about the hair being like so wild. Number two, this video is not to brag by any means. I know how hard it is for some people with infertility and miscarriage and things of that nature. So this is not to brag by any means. I'm just sharing my experience with you. And like I always say, I assume if you're watching this, you want to get pregnant, or you are pregnant, or you're a mom, or you're nosy like me, which I love too. And also, just lastly to put out there, I'm sharing my experience with you. My pregnancy could be like the furthest thing from normal, I don't know, but this is just what I'm sharing with you for me. I also love sharing about my pregnancy because number one, all you hear about is negative things when it comes to being a mom and being pregnant and the whole bit. So I want to be like a positive light for people that are trying to get pregnant so they're not so scared. Like I was so scared of getting pregnant based on what my perception was of pregnancy. And if I knew that it could be how it is, I probably would have got pregnant sooner. So I would love to be a positive light for people. And at the same time, being positive and being healthy, you can beat complications as well. So we'll get into all that. Oh, my last disclaimer, if I'm sitting crooked, I'm so sorry. I have a pinched nerve in my back. So like my shoulders might be off. They're always off, but the way I'm sitting, like if I'm angled, I apologize. So I have to bring you my perfume of the month before we jump in. I haven't been able to show you guys my October perfume. This month has been a little crazy for me. So I wanted to show you my Dossier perfume of the month. I got another Diptyque dupe, okay? Guys, it's too good. So this is the little box it comes in. You have your fragrance card I always show you. This shows you the notes, what it's inspired by, and the concentration. This is the Embry Tuberose. It's inspired by Diptyque Doe Sun, 15% concentration. This smells like the exact thing. I've smelt it at Nordstrom before and really, really loved it. I tell you all the time that I love Dossier because it's all clean ingredients, vegan, cruelty-free. The concentration is higher, so they always last on me longer than regular perfumes. I love how this one smells super fresh. I feel like it's perfect for this time of year where you want something a little dramatic but still fresh and clean. Dossier has all the best fragrance dupes. All their fragrances are $29 versus paying like $100, $200, $300 for fragrances. They have free returns at any time. You don't need to return, but if you do, there's no problem with it. They add new scents to their website all the time, so my collection is constantly growing. I think I have probably over 50 of these now. I always share with you that I have a coupon code I don't get paid for, but it saves you 10%, and I'll link it down below, and you can actually stack it most of the time with specials that they have on their website. So the more you buy, the more you save. It will be something like buy 2, save 20%, buy 3, save 30%. All of that, you know the deal if you are not new to my channel. This has been my lifesaver with being pregnant and trying to use clean beauty products, and also prior to being pregnant, I was trying to use clean beauty as well. Any scent that you want, they're most likely gonna have it on their website. They have Tom Ford, Chanel, Diptyque, Le Labo, which is one of my top faves. I have everyone in my life using the Dossier fragrances. And I literally never run out. This is 1.7 ounces, and I always travel with these as well. And they're glass. Thank you to Dossier for sponsoring this portion of my video and always letting me bring you my favorite perfume of the month. Next month, I have the best Tom Ford dupe to show you. I love Tom Ford's fragrances, but I could never figure out if they were clean or not. So I love that I know that Dossier's fragrances are clean. And I love mixing the Tom Ford ones. They're just unreal. So let's get into the second trimester. I'm going to be looking down. I have like a few notes. By the way, I'm 35 weeks today. Like, I don't want to say the baby could be here at any moment, but let's not get into the third trimester because it's a little crazy. We're gonna only talk second, but if you want to know current date, as I said here, I'm 35 weeks. I think I'm like 6 or 7 weeks late posting this and filming it. I just wanted to be like great quality for you. I was traveling, as you know, my husband has been on tour the entire pregnancy, pretty much since July. I was like 19 weeks when he left for tour or something. So you already know I had to like travel a lot to see him, and he was home, but it wasn't a break. If you watch the vlogs, then you're updated. You just know how crazy things have been. So I'm 35 weeks, and 2 weeks ago, he was 6.5 pounds already. I go tomorrow, so stay updated, you know, follow me on TikTok. I love TikTok. I love posting on there. I will try to be posting more pregnancy updates as well as we get closer. So follow me on TikTok. It's Cass Brown Jr. But yeah, so let's hop into second trimester because I'm getting ahead of myself. I also pulled up a calendar on my laptop in front of me, and then I have my notes on my phone to tell you because at this point, I forgot what week second trimester are. Some people say second trimester starts week 13. Some people say it starts week 14. I think it starts week 14. And then I believe the 28th week starts your third trimester. So we talked about the energy thing and being tired in the first trimester. Obviously, that was the worst. Was like, I told you it was like being drugged. Like, just zero energy. The most tired I've ever felt in my life. And I heard people say the second you go to your second trimester, like the day of, you all of a sudden have energy again, and that was my experience. The second I went into week 14, I immediately felt so much energy, like I wasn't pregnant, back to normal. I barely started to show week 14. Now looking back at photos, I don't think that I started to show until August. I wrote on here that I started to show week 14. No, when you look at photos, the funniest thing is during pregnancy, of like, oh my God, I'm so big. Oh, I'm showing so much. It's so obvious. And then you look at photos now and you're like, you were not even showing at all. So I wrote here, started to show week 14. I didn't start showing until probably at least halfway through my pregnancy, like week 20 something. And even then I just looked bloated. To this day, I'm 35 weeks and obviously I have like a big bump, but people can't tell I'm pregnant from the front or the back. I have to be turned to the side, which is very odd, but it's obviously a big bump, but it didn't start to really grow and show until August. Just something to mention, I've been going to the specialist since 19 weeks, which we'll get into, but he's been in the 98th percentile since the 19-week specialist appointment. And I didn't know what any of that stuff meant, like percentile, this and that. It means your baby's bigger than 98% of babies their age. The fact that I didn't start showing until like August is funny because he's so big and he's been so big and like long. I wrote here that my belly button itched on the inside. Week 15, peeing a lot more, pressure at the bottom of the stomach, out of breath a lot. This is like a symptom that I guess I've had since before pregnancy. Every time I blow my nose, there's like blood, but it seems to be heightened because I had sinus issues before getting pregnant, but during pregnancy, your sinuses can swell and make it worse. So I've just had, you know, the same sinus issues. Like, this is what I said is I feel like all the ailments I had before being pregnant are like the only things I'm dealing with. They're just like a little more extreme. It's like literally nothing to speak of, you know? Okay, so when I was 19 weeks, this is when I got sent to the specialist for the first time. And since then, I've been going every 4 to 6 weeks to make sure everything is okay with the baby. So I mentioned this in a vlog. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it, or like if it's in the placenta or the uterus, like something's wrong, and I want to say it's the placenta, but it goes based on the protein levels in the placenta, and mine is anterior, so it's on the front instead of being on the back. So you won't necessarily like see the baby's shape because there's kind of like a cushion in between your skin and the baby with the placenta being on the front. The good news is it's not blocking the cervix, so I can still have the baby naturally. But essentially they said it was called low papa. I don't know what that means. I googled it. I still don't know what that means. And then there was something else as well. I don't know what the other one was called besides low papa. There's like something else also that was wrong. So because I had the low papa and the something else wrong with the placenta, I honestly ignored it because I was like, I'm not gonna have issues. I don't need this negativity in my life. So I literally blocked out every single thing that they said I was at high risk for, or things that could happen. So because of the low papa and there's something else, they also told me I was at high risk for preeclampsia. I was at high risk for gestational diabetes. They said based on all those 4 things, I could have a baby that wouldn't grow. So basically the baby would be super, super small and not get past like a certain stage or a certain weight. And then they also said I could have preterm labor. I could have miscarriage. I was like, I'm not hearing any of that. We're not doing that. Don't. Like, don't, right? She also said, because my BMI, the specialist is she also said that my BMI was high when I got pregnant, so that also put me at a higher risk for preeclampsia and gestational diabetes. But at 19 weeks, I hadn't gained any weight yet, and I said, how could this be? Like, I haven't gained any weight, I've been eating healthy, I've been walking, and she said it's based on your genetics, it's not based on how you're currently eating. At that appointment, let me go to the photo, because I took photos of like the measurements. At that appointment, the baby was in the 98th percentile for every single thing. So it was kind of like they were telling me he's not going to grow and I could have all of these, you know, pregnancy issues, but then he was in the 98th percentile. So at that appointment, I was 19 weeks, 5 days, and he was measuring 21 weeks. And like I said, he was in the 98th percentile. He was only 14 ounces. He just was measuring like ahead. So essentially he's been measuring 2 to 4 weeks ahead since that 19-week appointment. But I literally did not listen to the negativity. I was like, okay, whatever. I literally ignored it. Like, they didn't tell me anything. They said that nothing was based on what you're doing during pregnancy, but based on your genetics and I guess issues like prior to pregnancy. But let me tell you, I feel healthier being pregnant than I did before being pregnant. I'm gonna like skip around so I don't forget anything. I wanted to update you on like the second trimester weight. First trimester, I told you guys it went up a little, down a little, up a little, down a little, so I gained nothing in the first trimester. Second trimester, I gained 5 or 6 pounds depending on like when I would weigh myself, so I didn't gain very much. So I had that specialist appointment at 19 weeks, 19 and a half weeks or so, and I've been going ever since. Everything's been great. Everything that they keep checking me for is not happening. Like, he's at this moment and the last, I want to say 6 or 7 weeks, he's been growing like a pound a week. It's not supposed to start until I want to say 30 something weeks, and they're supposed to gain half a pound a week. I don't know if you do a third trimester update or you just give the birth story or what. I'll have to do an update on the third trimester, but he's big. At 19 and a half weeks, I went to that specialist. That was on a Wednesday. My husband left for tour on the Friday morning. Mind you, at that specialist appointment, they said, oh, have you felt the baby kick yet? I said, no. And they said, oh, like, don't worry, like a week or two, you're gonna feel him kick. And they were saying, because my placenta was anterior, that it might take a while to feel him kick. My husband leaves on the Friday morning for tour. I feel the first kick Saturday night. So cute, so cute. It was the day before I turned 20 weeks. I wrote here, July 16th, 11:30 p.m. Kick or gas? Think it was a kick when I turned to my left. So the next day, July 17th, 7 p.m., felt like I felt kick again. So I basically, like, okay, you're supposed to sleep on your side. I had already slept on my left side before being pregnant. So that night, that Saturday night, I had gotten into bed and I like rolled over on my left, and because there was like nothing else going on, like no TV, I wasn't on my phone, nothing. I literally felt something, and people would describe it as like, oh, it feels like butterflies, it feels like flutters. Like, what does that even mean? That's not helpful, that's not descriptive, so I'm never gonna tell you like that's how it felt. This is how it felt. I was laying on my side and I said, oh, do I have to go to the bathroom? It feels like gas bubbles, like if you had bubble guts, you know what I'm saying? Not to be TMI, but like that's literally how it felt. It felt like gas bubbles. It didn't feel like, oh, a flutter or a butterfly. Like, no, it doesn't feel like that to me. I don't know if that's just my experience or not, but it was like, oh, was that a gas bubble? And then I called my husband and was like, hey, I don't know if that was like gas or the baby, and I couldn't be sure. But then when I wrote down that I felt it the next night, the same thing, I was like, I felt it 2 nights in a row when I laid down. So it may have been a kick. And then since that day, it has been every single day. So like, obviously when it continued, I was like, oh my God, this is a kick. Obviously very soft and just literally feels like gas bubbles. It doesn't feel like anything specific for me. The first trip I had to go see my husband on tour. I went to Tampa first and then I went to New Orleans. And when we were in New Orleans, I wrote down July 29th, Friday, Ray felt the baby kick for the first time in the morning when I woke up. So like, it was little, but I was like, oh, I feel like if he puts his hand, the baby's kicking right now too, by the way. I was like, I feel like if he puts his hand, like he'll be able to feel it. So he felt it. Obviously, if you've been pregnant before, you know it gets more and more extreme as the baby gets bigger. We're gonna get into other stuff later, but yeah. So something that I didn't know until I started traveling, you can't fly with sandals. I hadn't experienced any swelling, nothing, but I was 22 weeks and it says lots of feet swelling and leg cramping. So I had just wore like these little 2-strap sandals on the plane, and then my feet were swollen. It wasn't super bad, but it was like my leather sandals cut into my feet. It wasn't super swollen like you see pregnant people's feet and ankles be like this big. It wasn't like that. It was just like enough where my tight sandals cut like where the strap was, cut into my feet. So people told me you have to buy compression socks, put them on in the morning before you get out of bed, and wear compression socks all day. So since then, which that was end of July, so basically August, September, October, so for 3 months I've been wearing compression socks as much as I can. And I noticed the only time I really swell is if I'm traveling, like flying, which most people get swelling if they fly and they're not pregnant, but especially while pregnant, it's important to wear the compression socks. So I've been doing that, and I have like a little wedge pillow where if I'm like just resting in bed or on the couch at the end of the day, I'll elevate my feet on that a little bit. People also mentioned to me around the same time, end of July, that you want to wear sneakers. So I've been wearing like the compression socks and the sneakers, especially when I do my walks, because they say like your feet can grow or widen and never go back. Let me tell you, I'm a size 10. I can't afford to go up a size. I can't afford to not be able to wear all these shoes of mine. I say this because there's a little IKEA closet here. No. Okay, no. She can't be a size 11. She can't. She's size 10. So she's been wearing the compression socks, wearing the sneakers. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, overall I gained 5 to 6 pounds. Never experienced cravings. Never experienced like that hunger that people talk about that's like a ravaging, crazy hunger where like you're gonna kill someone if you don't get some food. I've been pretty lucky. There was no symptoms that like stood out to me out of the normal the second trimester. I feel like I'm really lucky, but I've also been taking care of myself. I've been doing my bump care routine with all the oils and creams since I got pregnant. I walked for an hour every single day. I will say in August, it was a little much for me to be walking so much. So I switched to swimming, but then it made it so I wasn't consistent with my workouts. So since like mid to end of August, I haven't been consistent. And when I say consistent, I was being a little psycho because starting from, I would say June, so like June, July, and half of August, I didn't miss a single day. I'm talking 7 days a week I was walking. I won't update you on current day, but that's not my situation current day. But like as long as you're healthy and you can, even if walking is the only thing you can possibly do, just walk. Whether it's on the treadmill or outside, like even just 30 minutes a day, I would just walk. Also for food, when I was traveling a lot to see my husband because, hi, I'm not going to be home for 5 or 6 months by myself pregnant the entire time, so I had to go see him. That was my only option. So obviously while I was traveling, I wasn't watching what I ate really. Like I said, didn't have cravings. I didn't get hungry a lot, so I was just eating like how I would regularly before I was pregnant. And so then the times that I am home, I eat from home and eat healthy the majority of the time. It will always take me a second to like get back into the flow of things when I come back from a trip, but I feel like that's the same for everybody. So I just wanted to touch on one more thing and then I'll be done. I'm sorry this is like so long. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. But I just want to say, I know this is not the same for everybody. My experience is probably unique, but don't think that pregnancy is a negative thing, and you can be healthier and more in shape being pregnant than not being pregnant. It's not guaranteed that you're gonna gain all this weight. Like, let me talk about something. Even though I'm not talking about the 3rd trimester, let's take current day for example. I haven't weighed myself recently, but I literally am only up 10 pounds total of my entire pregnancy, and he's 7 pounds. So it's like you don't necessarily have to eat crazy. Like, I understand if you have cravings because I didn't experience cravings. I understand like probably having to give into those, but you can make this experience anything you want it to be. You don't have to let outside factors and other people and everything else determine how your pregnancy is gonna go. You can be active, you can eat healthy, you can do anything you wanna do. Like, I literally just started feeling pregnant probably like these last couple weeks, and I'm 35 weeks. I just want people to know that it doesn't have to be a negative thing. And also, as far as when the doctors are giving you these high risk things, these negative things, I literally just ignored it. Okay, I don't know if I mentioned this in the first trimester update video, but I forgot to mention this when I was talking about the specialist. So when I initially went to the specialist at 19 weeks, they had me taking baby aspirin to prevent the preeclampsia. So I never liked taking medication, even before being pregnant. Don't like anything in my body. I just don't want it. I prefer being more natural. But they made me take a Bayer baby aspirin. I've heard mixed opinions on this, but I just said, you know what? I have to listen to the doctor and be smart, because I know my own body, but they know risks and they know babies, everything like that. So since 19 weeks, I've been taking the baby aspirin. It's a Bayer, like 81 milligram little thing every night. I think I'll be able to stop in like a week. They say it can cause like excess bleeding if you don't stop early enough before your pregnancy, like you could hemorrhage. So that was something I was a little nervous about. My doctor said that's not true, but I'm gonna ask him if I can stop taking it on Sunday, which I'll turn 36 weeks on Sunday. So that's something I've been doing, but also just like watching my food. So they say that what you eat has nothing to do with gestational diabetes, whether you have it or not, and also preeclampsia. But I still was like, the best I can do to take care of myself, I'm gonna do whatever I can, like stay active, eat healthy, just be like peaceful, calm, not stressed. I've been trying to really take care of my mental as well as my physical. So at the end of the second trimester, I had to do tests. So technically I was like in my third, but I'm just gonna talk about it here because I'd rather talk about it here. So basically, at your 28-week mark, you're supposed to do another blood test, and then you do the gestational diabetes test. So if you're scared of doing that, do not be scared. That little thing was so good. It tasted like a sweet Sprite. It was like a soda. It did not taste nasty. Everyone makes a huge big deal out of it. They have to drink it. Oh, they have to test you. Is this, is that? No. Just no. Literally, them taking my blood was the worst possible thing that I experienced. Like, I hate needles. I hate giving blood. But that was the last time they had to take my blood. I did the gestational diabetes test. I passed. I didn't have it. Haven't got preeclampsia. They say that your blood pressure has to be over 140 for your blood pressure to be high. My blood pressure's never been over 130, and that was because they took it right after I did like a swim workout. So just to take things into my own hands, on Amazon, which I can link for you, I bought a blood pressure cuff, and the best time to take your blood pressure like reading is right before bed. So every single night I take my blood pressure reading. It's never ever been high. It's never been past 125. It's like between 118 most of the time and 120, like 120 over 75 I think is normal. So I've never got the gestational diabetes, never got preeclampsia. They said the baby's not gonna grow. I got preterm labor, miscarriage. He's currently sitting at 7 pounds in my stomach. I've only gained 10 so far. I plan on swimming this week because of my pinched nerve in my back, walking again next week. I'm gonna start all the stuff you start in the third trimester, as far as like the raspberry leaf tea, the dates, this and that, whatever. But I just want to say that, like, I'm not even at my heaviest weight of life while pregnant. And I was like not happy with my weight when I got pregnant. I mentioned this before, I had wanted to lose like 25 pounds before getting pregnant. But who's to say if I did that, I wouldn't have gained so much weight during my pregnancy. So I just want to share my positive experience so that you know it's not all negative. And like I said, I know people get morning sickness and nausea, crazy symptoms, cravings, weight gain. The worst thing I could say was like my skin was breaking out. But guess what? Before I was pregnant, if I wasn't on the combo of the birth control and the spironolactone, my skin would break out. I would have leaky gut stuff with my intestines, and my skin would break out. So there's literally nothing. Like, I have nothing to complain about. Like, he's a little angel. He's never caused me pain or one crazy symptom at all. So I just want you to know that if you're scared to get pregnant, don't be scared, because not everyone has a negative experience. Also, people are always going to talk to you and give you unsolicited opinions and advice. Just ignore them. Literally ignore them. Like, let me tell you, even if you have a good positive pregnancy, they have stuff to say still. It's oh, just wait until this, oh, like, be quiet. Just be quiet. Just literally ignore them and say be quiet. Do you know that I've had people say to me like, oh, you're gonna have to get pregnant again so you can experience a real pregnancy, just because I'm killing the game on this pregnancy and I'm not feeling anything negative and I'm like, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's my mental, and I'm also taking care of myself, not just mentally, but like physically, with being active, with everything I'm doing. Like, you can't let other people get to you. I know already being pregnant, you feel so alone, even when you have people around you, because you feel like no one really understands what you're going through, and it's like so difficult to process everything mentally. But if you have to distance yourself from people because they're being negative, just talk to you later. Bye. You know what I mean? And also, if people are not being nice to you or checking on you while you're pregnant, don't let them come see your baby. That's my advice. Just don't, because you're gonna not make sure I'm okay mentally and physically while I'm pregnant, and then you want to come meet my baby. No, the baby's not yours. Sorry, goodbye. Peace and blessings, okay? I'm gonna stop talking because I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm sure there's so many things that I'm forgetting to tell you about, but just know, pregnancy's great. It's going great, okay? Everything's great. There's no complications other than the fact that he's a little Debo, a little Hulk. Like, he's huge. I'm gonna see tomorrow how much weight he's gained in the last 2 weeks, but I'd rather him be this big than them being like, oh, he won't grow past 3 pounds. They told me he wouldn't grow past 3 pounds at the specialist. Like, he could be so small and you could have preterm labor. No, none of that's true. No. So everything's going great. I hope that you love my updates, and be on the lookout. I have my bump care routine coming and a whole bunch of other pregnancy stuff coming. And before you know it, you'll be seeing the little baby here. I'll be holding him, and you'll see him on camera. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.